Welcome to Aquapleticodon, where more useless knowledge is unlocked. Today, let's unravel one of the aviation industry's favorite talking points, airplane safety. You've probably heard the claim that flying is the safest way to travel. But have you ever wondered how that conclusion is calculated? Let's dive into the numbers and see what they really mean. When aviation experts say flying is the safest, they're usually referring to the number of deaths per kilometer traveled. This makes sense on the surface because airplanes typically cover vast distances in a short amount of time. For example, airplanes average just 0.05 deaths per billion kilometers traveled, making them statistically much safer than cars or motorcycles. Cars, by comparison, average around 3 deaths per billion kilometers, and motorcycles, a staggering 100 deaths per billion kilometers. By this measure, airplanes are unbeatable. But there's a catch. This metric takes advantage of the sheer distances covered by planes, making the safest label a bit misleading for everyday travelers. If we look at other ways of measuring safety, the picture can change dramatically. For instance, deaths per hour of travel shifts the focus from distance to time. Airplanes perform worse here because their high speed reduces travel time, but concentrates risk. By this measure, airplanes see 4 deaths per million hours, compared to 60 for cars. But the gap isn't as dramatic as in the per kilometer measure. Alternatively, if we examine deaths per trip, the ranking changes again. Because airplane crashes often involve multiple fatalities and flights are relatively infrequent, this metric makes planes appear less safe. Airplanes might average 1 death per million trips, but cars, especially for short distances, often report significantly fewer fatalities per trip. Combining the number of passengers and the distance or time traveled creates another interesting perspective. With deaths per passenger journey, airplanes balance well, but trains or buses might outperform them for certain travel scenarios. The chosen metric can drastically alter how we perceive safety. So why do airlines favor deaths per kilometer? It's all about perception. Planes excel in long-distance travel, and this metric capitalizes on their ability to cover vast stretches of land with minimal incidents. It also avoids focusing on the higher risks associated with individual trips or shorter travel times. For passengers, seeing numbers like 0.05 deaths per billion kilometers is reassuring, even if it doesn't fully represent all the ways to think about safety. If aviation safety were measured differently, planes wouldn't always hold the top spot. When comparing per hour, trains might outperform airplanes because their slower speed spreads risk over a longer period. For per-trip measures, buses, which have lower fatality numbers per journey, could seem safer for short-distance travel. Airplanes shine brightest in metrics designed for long-distance travel, but might lose their edge in short-trip comparisons. Ultimately, flying remains incredibly safe compared to most modes of transportation. However, understanding the different ways safety is measured can help you make informed decisions. Statistics can tell very different stories depending on the context and the storyteller. Thank you for flying through these stats with Aquapleticodon, where more useless knowledge is unlocked. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's keep exploring the fascinating stories behind the numbers. See you next time.